the Tea and Crumpets channel. Instead of a podcast, however, this is a live adaptation. Today's topic is the different reactions of people in America to the publishing of the Declaration of Independence back in 1776.
Jenna and I will be bringing out multiple guests from different backgrounds to ask about their view on two questions that we have. Our first guest is an old Native American woman who has crossed seas and rivers to get to us now. Please welcome Madam Alberta to our podcast.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going?
Hi, I hope your journey wasn't too rough here. We have a few questions for you about the public's reaction to the Declaration of Independence, if that's alright with you.
Yes, of course, honey boo boo. I'd be delighted to answer any of your questions you have for me.
When you found out about the news, how did you feel about it? And how did the public react?
Well, let's see.
My tribe and other local tribes in the area knew these rights were not going to apply to us all, especially considering how the writers made a point to only mention white men. They speak of freedom, but not for us. Our footsteps were here long before their sails touched our shores.
No one asked us how we felt. Some of our people, they tried to stay out of the war, while others wanted to be part of it, hoping to protect our land. But in the end, we all lost family, land, and trust. This document deepened division between us and the Patriots further. It was chaos. Yet, here we are. I remember, and now you will too.
Very touching story. Anyways, thanks for your input into this podcast. We appreciate you a lot, and we hope this trip back to your tribe, or whatever remains of it, safe.
Bye-bye.
Anyways, guys, let's welcome our next guest, Caesar, who is a Southern patriot. Hey, folks, I will answer whatever questions you lovely ladies got for me today.
Hi, Caesar. Hopefully the trip wasn't too rough. We'd like to ask you a couple of questions, not to inconvenience you.
Oh, that time machine gave me scoliosis, I'm sure. But it's okay. It ain't nothing I haven't been through before. The American Revolution was way worse. But go right ahead with them questions. Okay. Anywho, the first question we'd like to ask you is, what were the Patriots' initial reaction to the publishing of the Declaration of Independence? Was it chaotic? A big achievement? Oh yes, the Declaration of Independence. It was the greatest thing ever. Is he okay? He's literally been zoned out for ages.
Can you answer the questions, please?
Oh yeah, sorry. I was thinking about something.
It's okay, Money Boo. Just answer the question.
We Patriots were so happy. We were partying left and right and causing so much commotion in the streets. We were overjoyed after finally getting the freedom and liberty we've been desiring finalized and published on a piece of paper. Although some of the more wise ones knew that there was still conflict between the British and the Americans and there was still work to be done, obviously the Declaration of Independence unified and brought joy to all of us Patriots across the colonies. Jeez, you guys were really happy about the Declaration of Independence, weren't y'all? What about the Loyalists? I heard there was some tension between the two sides. Ugh, yeah. Those nasty lobsterbacks kept trying to impose their will onto us. They definitely got more heated. I swear, when I walked down my usual town pathway, more of them red things kept siding me more. It most definitely divided us more. Some women seemed a little angry because we didn't include the Reds in the Declaration, but it's alright.
Huh, interesting. Now, why didn't you include the other people's rights?
Wait! Okay, you know what? Whatever. Let's bring in the next guest. Her name is Janice. She was a woman at the time of the publishing. She looks like she has quite a lot to say. So let's hear it.
Oh my goodness. I am so honored to be here. Thank you for having me on your lovely show.
Yes, we're glad to have you here as well. May we ask a few questions for our podcast?
Of course, I would be so happy to.
Okay, first question. How did you and all the other women feel when the Declaration of Independence was published? I know that it must have been rough being excluded from all this talk about liberty and freedom on the document.
Oh, you're right. Me personally, when I heard the news, I was shooketh. The ideal reaction for a woman like me is to those men leaving us out in their document was to revolt. Us women raised, fed, and cared for them, just for them to forget about us and disregard us. It most certainly was annoying.
And you're certainly right about that. But what about social groups? Did you think it divided women and men?
We women are definitely giving those men the cold shoulder way more than often after figuring out that they left us out of the document. Personally, I believe that all patriots, men and women, have both worked hard to achieve our common goal of freedom and liberty.
That's very touching, and I'm happy you're speaking up against this unfair behavior. Thank you for contributing your portion of this podcast episode. Goodbye, and don't get stuck in that time machine.
Bye-bye, sweeties!
Anywho, our next guest is a loyalist and has actually fought in the American Revolution. Seems a bit grumpy about the topic, so let's not keep him waiting for too long. Let's welcome Wentworth to our podcast.
Hi, Wentworth. We would like to welcome you to our podcast. May we ask you a few questions?
Yeah, I got places to be though, so hurry it up.
Okay, let's start. First question. How did you feel when the Declaration of Independence was published?
Don't even get me started on this topic. I wanted to rip that paper the moment I saw it. It was terrible. Those colonists think that they can do whatever they want. Well, they're wrong.
Okay, so how did
My British folks and I wanted to march right into that meeting house and burn it down to the ground. I worked hard in this war to defend my king's honor.
Calm down, calm down. We have one more question to ask you. How did this affect the divisions between the Patriots and the Loyalists?
I went divided a little, right? I certainly wanted to exterminate those colonists. If they wanted to be separated from us, then they could have went right ahead. But they shouldn't have expected us to go down without a fight.
Okay, thank you for your input, Wentworth. I think you need some tea and crumpets, and my secretary will provide you with that of steam. Bye-bye.
Gee, that man sounded very upset. Remind me to never mention Patriots around him ever again. But anywho, last but not least, we have our final guest. She has been through lots of hardships before this.
Hi, sweetnesses. Thank you for bringing me on this podcast.
Hello, Peggy. We'd like to ask you a few questions if that's okay.
Oh, of course. It's alright with me. Go ahead and ask away.
Okay, first, how did you react to the publishing of the Declaration of Independence?
Well, it certainly wasn't much to look forward to. I already knew that these white men were not going to include rights in certain people so that they could keep exploiting me and other people similar to I. It did make me very upset though. I didn't know when I was going to be free, especially after hearing all this discussion about freedom.
Very unfortunate and saddening to hear. We have one more question for you, though. Is that okay?
Of course, dearie. Go ahead and ask.
Do you think this deepened divisions between you and the white men aforementioned?
I'd say so. These white men advocate for freedom all the time, but when it comes to us, they choose to ignore us. I believe some other slaves were deeply saddened when they heard the news.
Amen, sister. You're very right. Thank you for coming on to our podcast and speaking your point of view of these topics. Bye-bye, Peg Peg.
Anywho, that's it for our podcast today. We'd like to thank all our guests for coming on to speak the truth, and we'd like to thank the audience for tuning in to today's episode.
My co-host is Rod. Thank you all for listening, and we hope to see you in the next episode.
Toodles!